Hey everybody, what's up? JB here, Soccer Dad Pod. We've got a short, abbreviated emergency episode. Not that there's an actual emergency, it's just time is of the essence because joining me from the Louisville men's program, assistant coach Sean Teepen, who is also one of the organizers, directors of the College Spring League. Thanks for joining me, Sean.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So I reached out because we're nerds about soccer, and in particular, we follow a lot of college soccer for personal reasons. And I love this the spring tournament. Excuse me. Some friends of the show, some past guests, their teams are participating, and actually one of them is in the final this Saturday. So I wanted to reach out, invite you on, and just take a second and talk to our listeners. Tell us a little bit about the spring tournament, who the teams are, kind of what the concept is, how you guys are integrating that into clearly a chaotic, off season. Let's just start with the why. When did the tournament pop up, and how's it going?
Yeah, absolutely. So it started in 2019, and ironically, my former university that I coached at, Bowling Green State University, the head coach there, Eric Nichols, he started the league with Hilton Days, who was the head coach of Cincinnati at the time. And basically the inception was, the spring can be mundane. Games don't really mean anything. How do you make the spring games just a little more meaningful? Put a trophy on it, create our own sort of league. And obviously there's still spring components to it. But how do we just ramp up the competitiveness just a little bit more? So the inception was, I think, I'm trying to remember back now, I think we had 8 teams at that time. And the concept is basically 2 divisions. You play everyone in your division. And then on the final day, first place of one division, first place of the other division play for a championship. And then second place plays second, so on and so forth. And so I've been a part of it since the first year. I think the COVID year we had to scrap it, but I think going on 5 or 6 years now that I've been a part of it. Half of that with Bowling Green, and now half with Louisville.
So let's run through the names real quick. You 2 divisions in 1 division. You've got Akron, Bowling Green, Dayton, Michigan, and Michigan State.
Yep.
In the other division, you've got Butler, Louisville, Marshall, Ohio State, Xavier.
Correct.
Can you speak to kind of the selection of the teams? How did the group land on those teams in particular? Was there demand from other programs that were wanting to be involved? Is it a tough club to get into? How do you choose? Because there's a lot of options.
Yeah, it's kind of been organic, and I think I can't speak upon the first year because that was a lot of Eric's doing. And Hilton's doing. But it's definitely one that we get interests quite frequently. We've had a variety of teams. Cleveland State was in it at one point. Tiffin University, Division II school, hopped in at one point, kind of filling a void. We had a team pull out kind of last minute. So yeah, again, we started at 8, and that has then since expanded to 10. I think for us, we're fortunate that the Midwest has a lot of really good programs. We obviously, Marshall and Ohio State were both in the College Cup last year. Akron in the tournament. We've been in the tournament for years. Michigan's been in the tournament. Bowling Green's been in the tournament. So the talent is definitely there here in the area. And so definitely there is an urge of teams wanting to get in, or even we have people reaching out in their own region of, hey, how do you guys do this? We want to start something where we're at, So.
Yeah, how does that work with the NCAA in particular? Because obviously, there's rules upon rules upon rules as far as what you guys can do with the players in season, out of season. This is clearly, it's technically, quote, spring season, but it's not a season like most soccer fans think of. Is the NCAA, in clearly they're not opposed because they're not stopping it, but are they seeing value in which you could potentially see an expansion of this type of tournament play in the spring? Maybe a multitude of tournaments across different regions or conferences.
Yeah. I'll start on your first part of that question. We're allowed 5 dates of competition. And then you can actually play one more if it's an international team. So you see Canadian teams come down quite frequently to get kind of that 6th game, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So, for us having 10 teams, we fill all 5 of those dates with the spring league. You get your 4 regular season, if you will, and then the final day is your 5th game. So that's what we're allowed from the NCAA standpoint. I definitely think it's a push from the program side, the team side, to say, hey, we want these springs to be a little bit more meaningful. If NCAA is not going to do anything, we're going to just do it on our own.
Yeah.
And in their eyes, it's just your exhibition games. If you guys want to call it whatever you want and put a trophy on it, sure, it still doesn't mean anything to them. You know what I mean? So
yeah. So let's talk a little bit about maybe the from a coaching perspective or a staff perspective, the value of this type of format in the spring. Because obviously, college soccer is all about turnover. And these days it's all about portal and transfers and internationals, and you're recruiting for true freshmen and all these things. And there's a lot of question marks for most programs, exiting out of a season, going in, preparing for the next season because of all that transaction that is accelerated. Do you view this type of a format as a tool so that you can, actually evaluate where you're at?
Yeah. Absolutely. I think that's the fine line, right? Because it is still the spring, so giving opportunities to guys is still part of it. But I think there's just that little bit extra of we're trying to win games too. It's not all just we'll see what happens, and give this guy an opportunity just to give it, right? There's still a little bit on the line, if you will. So and for us, it's cool is you're able to treat them like fall games. We do video share within the league so that you're able to scout, you're able to hone those skills. And, if you have mid-year guys coming in, or we had 3 guys graduate high school early and join in January, they're able to see what does a meeting look like where you're going over a true scouting report with video and, true analysis. So, you're able to really treat it as opposed to, in the past, some of those spring games, you don't have any video on opponent. Right. You don't know what they're going to show up with, so we're able to continue to hone that a little bit. And again, try to treat it as much like a fall as we can.
Yeah, that's cool. It's fun because obviously as competitors, everybody wants to play the games, but it's way more fun than when the games have meaning. Yeah. So I'm looking at the schedule for this weekend. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4 of the 5 games. Looks like the 9th place game was canceled, the first game. But you 7th place is Bowling Green, Ohio State, and I'm moving in reverse order here. 5th is Akron and you guys. I'm not going to pick a horse in that race. 3rd, we've got the Go Blue versus the Xavier crew out of Cincy, and then first place game you've got the Spartans, Mr. Coach Rensing himself, good St. Louis boy, versus the Herd. When you kind of look at those matchups, is there a certain amount of pride, excitement? Do you think this thing's getting it right? Where is it? Because a lot of times you can throw together a fun tournament and things just don't kind of play out the way you would expect. Yeah. Is this playing out the way that you're expecting it?
Yeah, I think so. I think what's interesting is of those 4 games, 3 are rematches from last spring, including the final. Michigan State played Marshall in the final last spring, and Michigan State ended up winning that. So I know Marshall's fired up for the rematch. And we played Akron last spring, and Bowling Green played Ohio State last spring. So. Yeah, I think all teams in this league are super competitive, and the table, the way it played out was pretty even. I know on the North, between first and last place was a matter of 3 or 4 points. There were 2 tiebreakers that needed to happen. So definitely some competitive matches, and I think the final day is really good. I know Marshall has a good following on social media. They're getting into it. I know, I run the social media accounts, and I see all the replies. I think it's gaining some traction. People are vested in it, which is great.
Is quote replies code for trash talk? Is that
No comment.
Yeah, the activity quote activity.
There you go.
Well, cool, man. If so, for those that are listening or checking us out, do you guys have the game? Is anything televised, or is this just kind of played and recapped?
Yeah, it's not this year. Last year we tried it. We had a third party that was interested in doing it, and we were able to have the final streamed. This year we had some difficulties, so I don't think we have it streamed this year. It is open to spectators though. If anyone in the Columbus area, I know we've got fans from other teams coming in as well. It's yeah.
Awesome. Well, then in closing here, got to ask, shift it over. We got a lot of listeners that are in the Academy, MLS Next, ECNL world, and the GA Cup kicks off this Saturday. Got to ask, post game, do you just have the whole staff all running to the airport? You guys all going down to Florida to catch some better weather, watch the Euros come and play our next gen of youth players?
Yeah, me and our other assistant have a 6 a.m. flight on Sunday. So we obviously wanted to be in the championship, but we figured if we're not in the championship, that 2:30 time gets us back at a reasonable hour so we can catch our 6 a.m. flight on Sunday morning.
Well, there you go, man. Hey, Coach Teepen, thank you very much for joining me. Congratulations on the success and growth of the Spring League. Good luck with your game. Well, I'd say I can't say good luck because when Jared listens to this, I'm going to get a text. No, seriously, good luck this weekend. And if you're down in Bradenton, we'll be walking around the city sidelines. Come by, we'll say hi.
Perfect. Definitely will.
All right, man. Good luck. We'll talk to you later.